guys, it's Kales, and it is the beginning of July, so I'm going to tell you about all the books that I read in June. I read 6 books in the month of June, which is great because that's keeping me on track, if not a little bit ahead of my goal of reading at least 1 book a week. It was kind of a mediocre reading month for me. There were like really good books, but nothing stellar, and some ones that I didn't really like. So here they are. The first book that I managed to read was Winter, this big hunk of a book. I finally finished it, and I'm so excited that I did. The Lunar Chronicles is done! Yay! It was awesome. I really enjoyed this book. It just was slow. Good lord, guys, I felt like that 200 pages of the middle of this could have been cut out, and it just could have been quick and fast and so much better. I loved the way it ended. I loved the series and getting to delve more into the characters and the relationships, and my secret romantic was so happy with how this ended. So I really was pleased with it, but seriously, guys, it was ridiculously long, unnecessarily long, in my opinion. If you haven't read the Lunar Chronicles, you should start with Cinder. This is the last one in the series. I'm excited to see what else Marissa Meyer will come up with now that this series is over. This next book is one that I was excited to read, and I'm sad that it didn't actually turn out as well as I wanted it to, and that's called The Well's End by Seth Fishman. And this book was about this outbreak at a school in Colorado, and this girl having to find her dad, who works in like an underground facility. And then it got twisted on its head, and it started out that way, and it was really intense and really exciting and really great, and then it wasn't about that at all. It did one of those like 180 things where the book just completely changed what it wanted to be about and became very mystic and fantasy, and it was like not exciting. I was not having it. I didn't like it. It was very confusing at a lot of points. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars just because the beginning was so great and so intense, but I didn't like the rest of it, and I was really upset with the false advertising of what I thought this was and what it turned out to be, which made me sad. Not my favorite. It's disappointing. Then I did a buddy read this month with Casey over at A Basket Casey Reads, and we read Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and this was one of the best books I read this month. Holy crap, this book was good. V.E. Schwab's writing just makes me miss good writing. She's such a talented author. I mean, I already knew that from A Darker Shade of Magic, and then now this. Holy crap, guys. This is like a coming-of-age story, like an origin villain story, instead of like an origin hero story. Hero origin story, it's a villain origin story, and I really liked that new concept on it. The only reason I gave this book like a 4.5 out of 5 stars or like a 4 out of 5 stars was because it was really, really dark, and I just, for my soul and me, as who I am a person, I was like, I feel like after I was done I needed to go take a shower. I just wanted to like shake it off of me because it was so dark. But it's about 2 best friends who discover that they can somehow get superpowers by like dying and then come. It's really interesting. It's really cool. The logic behind it is fascinating, and having near-death experiences generates powers, and it's really interesting look into what is a hero and what is a villain and different perspectives. It's so ambiguous in that. It's really good, guys. Very, very dark, but very, very good. Ugh, it just gives me chills just talking about it. Then I read The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, and I know I'm gonna get flack for this, but guys, I didn't like this book. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. I didn't know what was going on. I was really confused. Again, I felt very falsely advertised. Like, I get that it's the Raven Boys, but at the beginning it starts talking about Blue and her mystic family, and I would have so much more enjoyed that, and then yet it's like this story of friendship about these boys, and then in the middle of it, it like turns mystic, and there's like talking trees, and what? I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. And then there's like, I don't want to spoil it, so I won't say anything, but then like Noah and that whole thing, I just don't understand. I didn't get it. I didn't fall in love with any of the characters. I actually frankly thought that a lot of them were jerks, and I knew they were supposed to be jerks, but I was like, I don't care. I don't care about them. I mean, the writing was really pretty. I will give Maggie Stiefvater that, which is why I probably didn't give it like a 1, because that was cool, but I have no desire to continue on for the rest of the series. I know, I'm gonna get so much flack for it. If you want to have a more discussion in the comments, I will totally do that with you, and I can better defend my argument without me being so emotional about it. But I don't like it, and makes me sad, because I really wanted to like it, and sounded really cool, but I didn't. I read a really interesting read, which was called The Scar Boys by Len Vallejos and Valhos. I'm sorry, Len. This is actually, I met Len. He and his wife are actually the owners of the Tattered Cover bookstore here in Denver, which is amazing, and he gave me his book to read, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so interesting. It's about this young boy who at the age of 8 gets not struck by lightning. He's tied to a tree that gets struck by lightning, and so he gets a bunch of burn marks, and so he's very scarred and disfigured for his whole life, and he starts a rock band in the 80s with his friends. And it's really interesting, guys. I liked the characters. I also liked the structure that the story was told in, which was a college essay. So it was Harry looking back on what he did and the things that influenced him. It's a really long college essay, as he notes in it. But it was like this interesting foreshadowing of, you know, Harry's kind of like what I wish I had done versus what I actually did. And I hadn't seen that structure in a while. And I was really intrigued by it, and I thought it added such an element to the story. My only negative was that this book was set in the 80s, and so I missed a lot of the references. Just because I'm a 90s kid and some of them went over my head. I didn't even actually know it was set in the 80s until like maybe 3 chapters in, and that's just probably my fault from completely missing it. And I'm excited to read Len's new book that's coming out called Life in a Fishbowl, because I was really interested with the structure of this one, and I'm anxious to see how Len's writing style transfers over to Life in a Fishbowl. The last book that I read in the month of June was Salts of the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I think it's Sepetys. Ruta Sepetys. Guys, this is a historical fiction piece centered around 4 teens in World War II. One is a young Polish girl, one is a Prussian boy, one is a Lithuanian girl who's repatriated to Germany, and one is a boy from the Nazi youth. And oh my gosh, guys, I had no idea that this was a thing. It's actually based on the true story of the sinking of the Gustav, which is the like most tragic shipwreck in history. And everybody thinks of shipwreck, they go immediately to the Titanic, but this was like the most fatal. And I had no clue that this even existed. And I'm so glad she brought this story to light. And I'm so happy that this is being told, and this is such a great story, and the perspectives were awesome. I loved all 4 characters. I also loved the way that this book was structured, because it was like short little chunks of chapters, and it was about their interweaving stories, and I felt really comfortable with jumping from the perspectives. I knew who was talking, and it helped I listened to it on audiobook, so there were different voices. But even at the end, when I was like, I have to finish this book, I can't just listen to it on audiobook, and I read through the whole thing, I could follow it really well, and it was just such an interesting perspective on World War II. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. The only reason I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars instead of a 5 was that it was kind of missing that like oomph for me. I don't know why, and maybe it's because I listened to it really fast or like over a couple of days, and something about it didn't have me like just at the end, that final something. It's still well written, really good. I would recommend it to everyone. Just something about it didn't have that last final push for me to give it a 5 out of 5 stars. And that might just be me overthinking it. I don't really care. I still think it was a great book, and I highly recommend it because I love this period. I love what she did to this story, and I love learning about these untold stories of history. This is my bread and butter right here. Here we have it, these 6 beautiful books that I read in the month of June. Please leave a comment down below about any of these books that you would like to talk to me about. I would love to hear from you as per always. Until next time, guys. Bye! That didn't make much sense, but that's okay. Basically, I'm gonna shut this window because there's dogs barking. It's about to get hot up in here, and you can still hear the dog barking.